All right, guys, this is lesson 2, Tinkercad lesson 2. I'm going to show you how to use the align tool. I'm going to try to make it pretty short and simple. But really what we're going to do today, I'm going to have you line up 4 objects in a straight line. I'm going to have you put a shape in the corner of a box. I'm going to resize it for you. And then we're going to create a brand new shape with 2 shapes, group them together. And with all of these, I want you to group them together and make them multiple colors. So I'm kind of showing you the align and the group tool and trying to do it in a couple of minutes. All right, so come here and you're going to hit Create 3D Design. All right. This is lesson 2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here. We're going to type in lesson 2, Tinkercad 2, project 2, whatever you want to do. I'm even as nice to say just put in the number 2, but that way I can differentiate that between your other creations. Bottom left-hand corner, we want it in millimeters today. In my rubric, I forgot it does say inches. I'm going to update that. But for now, I'm telling you, so if you're watching it, click on Settings. Where it says Units, click the drop-down, millimeters, close Settings. You can also just click off of the box and it works as well. Go ahead and drag 4 shapes and just kind of put them in a diagonal line across the thing here, the work plane. All right, now because you can slow this down and rewind it, I'm just going to go pretty quickly here. So you can slow me down, you can rewind it, watch it again. But all you're going to do, if you have a mouse, you click somewhere up away from the shapes, and when you start dragging, this red box appears. Now, if you have a touch screen, which you can't see me touching the screen, but you can literally click this one, then click this one, then click this one, then click this one, and you see that it selects all of them. You can also, with your mouse, hold the Shift key down on the keyboard and click, 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 and click, and all of them are selected. So you have 3 different ways to select multiple items, okay? You're going to come up here, you'll see that these things have popped up. You're going to click the Align tool. The keyboard shortcut is literally L for line. Click that, and then all I want you to do, slide this out of the way, all I want you to do is put them in a straight line. So it doesn't matter to me which one you do. You can go up here. You see if you hover over it, it shows you what line it would be in. Okay, this one down here, now these are going up and down vertical. These lines over here, right, this literally lines everything up on the bottom of the shape, the center of the shape, and the top of the shape. And seeing as they are already grayed out, that means that all 4 of these shapes are literally the same height. So if they're the same height, they already are lined up in the bottom, lined up in the center, and lined up on the top. I'm just going to click this line over here. You can click any of the straight lines, doesn't matter to me. And you'll see that these items are now perfectly in a straight line. I want you to come up here and group it. Once you do that, if you deselected it, just select it again, right? So like if you hadn't grouped it yet and you clicked off and everything was like that, just do the same thing and touch off 4 shapes again. Make sure they're all selected. Then your group tool will show up, which I call it the chubby little arrow. It's really a circle joining a square. You're going to click the group tool. You're going to notice that whatever shape I click on first, it takes on that color. But if you want it to come back to multiple colors, which I want you to do, click on the solid circle. Come down here and click the rainbow, the multicolor option, and you'll see it'll go back to multiple colors. Just slide that off and out of the way. And that's how you do that. You need to, if you didn't catch it, rewind it and watch it again. Step number 2 in my rubric is to bring the ruler down to the work plane here. Put it in the lower left-hand corner. Make sure work plane is showing here because that will give us the front of the object. And if we know the front of the object, then we know which one is width, which one is depth, and which one is height. And so drag a box over and put it on the work plane. And let's just resize it. In class, I did it 90 millimeters deep, 90 millimeters wide, and just 5 millimeters tall. That way, whatever shape I pick will be taller than the table. So 90, 90, and 5. And just kind of bring that down here. And come over here and just grab a leg. I thought this one looked kind of good as a leg, so I'm going to use that. And just drag it on the work plane, put it right beside. Now, I got this idea because I was building a table, and so I wanted to show you how to put something perfectly in the corner. If you were trying to create like a hammer or an L or maybe a shelf or something like that, and you wanted something perfectly in the corner, the back of a car I designed this summer, I used this Align tool. So again, select both items. You can click and drag your red box. You can hold shift down on your keyboard and click both of them. You can also just use the touch screen and touch, and touch them both. Come up here and hit the align button. You're going to notice here, they are lined up on the bottom again. The bottoms of the shapes are lined up. They're not lined up on the top because obviously the blue one is taller because we made this one 5 millimeters. But what I want to do is put it perfectly in one of these corners. And what you're going to notice is when you line these two up, you're always going to have 2 dots in a corner. If you don't see it over here, you just rotate around. But you don't actually have to rotate around, because if I click this dot, it lines it up perfectly down here. So it lines it up along this bottom line here. So if I wanted it in this corner, I could literally just click this dot, and now it's lined up. If I wanted it in this corner, I could click this dot and line it up. If I wanted it in this corner, I could click this dot and line it up, and so on, right? And if I wanted it in this corner, I could click this dot and line it up. And so what I want, though, I just want you to have this object perfectly in the corner. So the easiest way to do it when you're first learning about it, and first doing it is making sure the 2 dots in the corners are grayed out. And you can do that by just rotating the screen around. So if you have a favorite corner, rotate the screen around, make sure the 2 dots are grayed out, and there they go. And I'm only asking you to do it one time. Okay? Last year I had students create a table. You feel like some of them lost their minds, right? It's too hard. But it's really not, especially if you're listening to the video, right? And so, this is pretty user-friendly. Just make sure these 2 dots are grayed out, and then go ahead and group it and switch it back to multiple colors, because I want you to practice that, and plus I think it looks cooler in more than one color. That was the second step. Let's get that out of the way. See if we can get done in about 8 minutes here. I'm just going to grab 2 shapes. Student... I forgot who told me. I wanted to give her props on here, but she did this one, and I thought it was pretty cool. So we did just a guy, girl, doesn't matter. I can do multiple ones. I could do Elvis. Nope, I said under 8 minutes, so let's try to get under 8 minutes. Bring over what looks like an inner tube. Put them side by side, right? Go ahead and highlight the 2 of them. You're going to click the Align tool. I want this thing perfectly centered with the faceless boy here. So I'm going to click the center dot here, and I'm going to click the center dot here. So center. And in this case, I'm going to do all 3 centers, because it looks like he's got an inner tube and ready, a little floaty, and ready to go swimming for the day. And then I'm going to go ahead and group it together so it's one shape. Because I clicked on the person first, it already is multicolor. If I had clicked on the blue first, everything would have been blue, and I would have had to come here and select multicolor. But because I selected a multicolor object first, it stayed multicolor when I grouped it together. But now if I slide that back and forth, okay? So that was the third and final thing in terms of my lesson, just to show you align and group, all right? If you missed any of those, rewind it and watch it again. Pretty simple, but that's how you do it. Obviously, there's a lot more uses for it than making, one little table leg, 4 items in a straight line, and a little boy with a floaty. But for today, that was our first practice in it. All right, that's it. Under 9 minutes. I'll see you next time.